There's someone in your life right now who's slowly destroying you. And the worst part? You probably don't even realize it's happening. Let me ask you something. Have you ever left a conversation feeling like you need to sit in silence for 20 minutes just to recover? Not because the topic was heavy, but because something about that person just drains you. Maybe it's your mother-in-law who always has a comment about your parenting. Or that coworker who somehow makes every project more stressful than it needs to be. Or the friend who's been going through a tough time for the past 3 years, and somehow you're always the one fixing their problems at 11 p.m. You know what I'm talking about. Because right now, a face just popped into your head. Here's what's happening across America right now. Millions of good people are sacrificing their mental health, their energy, their entire peace of mind for people who don't deserve it. We've been conditioned to believe that loyalty means accepting bad treatment, that setting boundaries makes us selfish, that walking away means we failed. Your grandmother probably told you, family is everything. Your parents taught you to work it out and give people chances. Society tells you to be understanding, be patient, be the bigger person. So you stay, you tolerate, you make excuses, and every day, a little more of yourself disappears. I want to tell you about Rachel from Ohio. She spent 8 years in a friendship that left her anxious and depressed. Her friend would show up unannounced, borrow money and never repay it, and somehow make Rachel feel guilty for having boundaries. When Rachel finally walked away, her therapist said something that changed everything. You didn't lose a friend. You lost someone who was using you. Or think about Marcus, a project manager in Seattle. He had a team member who was charming in meetings but sabotaged projects behind the scenes. It took Marcus losing a major account and nearly getting fired before he connected the dots. The person he'd been defending was the one destroying his career. These aren't dramatic stories. There's no obvious villain. These are everyday situations happening right now in offices across New York, in homes throughout Texas, in coffee shops in California. Normal people being slowly poisoned by relationships they can't seem to leave. The ancient Stoics lived 2,000 years ago, but they understood human nature in ways we've forgotten. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who could have had anyone executed, wrote in his private journal about protecting his inner peace from toxic people. Epictetus, who was once enslaved, taught about the power of walking away. Seneca warned about people who drain your life force while giving nothing back. If the wisest minds in history said you need to protect yourself, why do we feel guilty doing it? Today, I'm going to share 5 specific behaviors that are non-negotiable deal breakers. When you see these signs, you don't need to understand why someone does this. You don't need to give them another chance. You don't need closure or a final conversation. You need to walk away immediately. These aren't minor personality flaws. These are patterns that will destroy your mental health, your confidence, and your life if you let them. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why your gut has been screaming at you to leave. Before we begin, do me one favor. If this video helps you see clearly, subscribe to Stoic Journal. We're creating a space where people learn to protect their peace without apology. And don't skip any part of this, because the last sign is the one most people ignore until it's too late. Let's begin. Sign 1. They never take responsibility. The first red flag is simple but devastating. They never genuinely take responsibility for anything they do wrong. Ever. Watch what happens when they mess up. Most people can say, "I was wrong. I'm sorry." They might be defensive at first, but eventually healthy people own their mistakes. But this person, they're masters at transformation. Suddenly they're the victim. You're the bad guy for bringing it up, and somehow you end up apologizing to them. Picture this: you lend your friend $300. The repayment date comes and goes. You text them casually asking about it. Within minutes, you're in a conversation about how money-obsessed you are, how they're going through hard times, how disappointed they are that you don't trust them. 20 minutes later, you're apologizing for even mentioning your own money. Or your partner says something cruel during an argument. When you express hurt the next day, they tell you you're too sensitive. You twist their words. You always do this. Remember that time 3 years ago when you said something mean? Before you know it, you're defending yourself and they've escaped completely. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote privately about admitting when he was wrong. He could have executed anyone who challenged him, yet he prioritized accountability as essential to character. When someone consistently refuses this basic standard, they're showing you who they are. This behavior escalates. Small things at first, a forgotten promise becomes your fault for not reminding them. A hurtful comment becomes your oversensitivity. But it grows. Eventually, real betrayals somehow become things you caused or imagined. The dangerous part? It trains you to stop trusting yourself. After enough times having reality rewritten, you start thinking maybe you are the problem. Maybe you do remember things wrong. Maybe you are too sensitive. The Stoics taught that clear perception of reality is the foundation of wisdom. When someone consistently distorts truth to avoid accountability, they're attacking your ability to see clearly. Seneca wrote that when someone refuses to acknowledge reality, we must create distance not from anger, but from self-preservation. If someone has never genuinely taken responsibility for hurting you, if they always have excuses, if somehow their mistakes always become your fault, walk away now. This won't improve. Every day you stay teaches your soul that your reality doesn't matter. Sign 2. They consistently drain your energy. The second sign is physical. You feel it in your body. After time with this person, you're exhausted in a way sleep won't fix. Pay attention to this. Some people replenish you even during hard conversations. But this person, 5 minutes with them feels like running uphill. Every interaction leaves you depleted, confused, needing hours to recover. They might do this through constant crisis. Every conversation is an emergency requiring your immediate emotional investment. You're always on call, always dropping everything for their latest disaster. Or they do it through relentless negativity. You share good news, they explain why it won't last. You're excited about something, they list all the ways it'll fail. An hour with them feels like swimming against a current. Think about your weekend. You spent Saturday helping your sister move. Sunday evening, you're tired but satisfied. Good tired. Now think about last Tuesday when your friend called to vent for 2 hours about their relationship problems. The same problems they've had for 6 months and refused to actually fix. You hung up exhausted, irritable, and somehow behind on everything. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He wrote about preserving his vital force, recognizing energy as a limited resource that must be invested wisely. The Stoics knew that roughly 70 years on this planet if we're lucky. Each day has limited hours. Each interaction costs energy we never recover. Here's what makes energy vampires dangerous. They target generous people. They sense who will keep giving, who feels guilty setting limits, who will sacrifice themselves thinking it's virtuous. Think about someone specific. When their name appears on your phone, what happens in your body? A slight dread? Do you take a deep breath, preparing yourself? Do you sometimes ignore their calls because you just don't have the energy? That physical response is wisdom. Your body knows before your mind accepts it. Seneca wrote about guarding our time and energy like a bank account with a fixed amount. Every interaction is a withdrawal or deposit. Why would you allow unlimited withdrawals while never getting deposits back? The person draining you might not be malicious. They might genuinely struggle. But the Stoics would tell you, their struggle doesn't obligate your destruction. You can wish them well from a distance. You can hope they find help. But you don't have to be the help at the cost of your vitality. If someone consistently leaves you exhausted, if you avoid their calls, if you feel relief when plans cancel, if your energy has dropped since they entered your life, walk away. Epictetus taught that we must guard our own well-being. No one else will protect your energy if you don't. Sign 3. They make you doubt your reality. The third sign is the most psychologically damaging. They make you question your own memory, perception, and sanity. Modern psychology calls this gaslighting. The Stoics recognized it 2,000 years ago as attacking someone's fundamental ability to perceive reality clearly. Here's how it works. You remember a conversation clearly. You know what was said. When you bring it up, they insist it never happened. Not just that they don't remember, they're convinced you're wrong. They might express concern about your memory or mental state, or you're hurt by something they did. Instead of acknowledging it, they tell you you're too sensitive, too emotional, too irrational. Your legitimate pain becomes evidence of your dysfunction. Over time, something terrifying happens. You stop trusting yourself. You doubt your memories. You second-guess your perceptions. You rely on their version of reality because they're certain and you've been made confused. Picture this real scenario from Chicago. A woman's partner makes plans with her for Saturday dinner. Friday night, he mentions he's going out with friends Saturday. She says, "But we had plans." He looks genuinely confused. "No, we didn't. I never said Saturday. You're thinking of something else." Once, she thinks she misremembered. But it keeps happening. Plans become things she imagined. Promises become things she misheard. Clear events become things that never occurred. Eventually, she starts documenting everything. Follow-up texts confirming conversations. Written notes. Creating evidence trails of her own life because she can no longer trust her mind against his certainty. The Stoics valued clear perception as the foundation of wisdom. Epictetus taught that our ability to see reality accurately underlies everything else. When someone systematically undermines this, they're attacking your core capacity to live well. What makes this evil is it's often done by people claiming to love you. They frame their reality distorting as helping you see clearly. "I'm only correcting you because I care. I'm trying to help you understand what really happened." The damage lasts years. People subjected to consistent gaslighting struggle to trust their own judgment long after the gaslighter is gone. They continue questioning themselves, seeking excessive validation, doubting their experiences. Seneca taught we must maintain our own judgment and not let others dictate our understanding of reality. When someone consistently distorts truth, we must recognize it as a fundamental character flaw, making the relationship impossible. If you're constantly confused after interactions with someone, always second-guessing memories, feeling like you're going crazy, documenting conversations to prove what was said, walk away immediately. This person is attacking your fundamental capacity to navigate reality. They're making you dependent on their version of truth. Every day you stay, you lose more grip on your own mind. Your perception is sacred. Your memories are real. Your experiences matter. Anyone telling you otherwise has no place in your life. Sign 4. They isolate you from support. The fourth sign is strategic. They systematically cut you off from other people in your life. This rarely happens obviously. They don't say, "I forbid you from seeing friends." It's subtle, gradual. It seems reasonable or even caring on the surface. They speak negatively about your friends. "Did you notice how she always makes everything about herself? He doesn't really care about you. Your family doesn't appreciate you like I do." These comments plant seeds of doubt about people who actually care. Or they create conflict around your time with others. You have plans with friends. Suddenly they have a crisis needing your attention. They're not feeling well. They're having a terrible day. They really need you. Not every time, but enough that slowly you start canceling on others. Maybe they become withdrawn when you spend time with others. They say they're fine, but their mood says otherwise. You come home from a great evening and the atmosphere is ice cold. Eventually, it's not worth it. The price of their displeasure exceeds the joy of other relationships. Marcus Aurelius wrote that humans are social creatures meant for cooperation. Isolation goes against our fundamental nature and leaves us vulnerable. Here's why isolation is crucial for harmful people. When you're isolated, you have no reference points. No one to check reality with. No support system when you realize something's wrong. You're completely dependent on who isolated you. Seneca wrote extensively about how true friends help us maintain perspective and virtue. We need people who care about us to reflect back our experiences and help us see clearly. Think about this pattern. Someone enters a relationship. Gradually friendships fade. Family visits decrease. Hobbies are abandoned. By the time they realize something's deeply wrong, they're completely alone. The isolation comes with explanations that sound reasonable. Your friends don't understand our relationship. Your family is toxic to you. You're better than those people. But the effect is the same, alone with the person harming you. If you've noticed your relationships diminishing, if you feel guilty spending time with others, if you're constantly choosing between this person and everyone else, if you've become isolated in ways you can't explain, this is critical. Walk away. Reconnect with people who knew you before. Rebuild the support system that was dismantled. The Stoics taught that relationships requiring your isolation aren't built on virtue, but control. True connection doesn't require isolation. Healthy relationships encourage a full life with diverse connections. Anyone needing you alone with them needs you alone, period. Sign 5. Your gut screams danger. The fifth sign is the one we most often ignore. Your instinct screaming something's wrong. Beneath all rationalizations and explanations, beneath history and hope and excuses, there's a knowing, a sense you're not safe. A feeling something's fundamentally off. The Stoics called this your inner reason, your capacity to perceive truth beyond words. Maybe it's tightness in your chest when their name appears. Maybe you're extra careful what you say around them. Maybe you rehearse conversations beforehand, trying to predict how they'll twist your words. Your body knows before your mind accepts it. You walk on eggshells, constantly anxious about triggering their anger or disappointment. You've stopped being yourself, instead performing a version you think will keep peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote about listening to our inner voice, that part perceiving truth even when we don't want to accept it. He understood we often know things long before we're willing to act on that knowledge. Do something right now. Think about the person this video brought to mind. Take a breath. Drop into your body. What does your gut tell you about this relationship? Not your head. Not the rationalizations. Not, but they've been through a lot, or, but sometimes they're good, or, but I've invested so much time. What does your body, your instinct, your deepest knowing tell you? If there's a voice saying something is wrong here, trust it. If there's relief at the thought of them being gone, listen. If you feel dread or anxiety around them you can't explain, honor it. The Stoics believed humans naturally perceive what's good and harmful for us. They trusted that beneath conditioning and social pressure, we know. We always know. Epictetus taught students to pay attention to immediate reactions before the mind explains them away. That first flash of feeling, that instinctive response, that's often the truest information we have. You might tell yourself stories about why you should stay. They need you. They'll change. It's not that bad. You're being too harsh. Things might improve. You've been together so long. But underneath all those stories, what's the truth? The truth is often simple. You don't feel safe. You don't feel valued. You don't feel like yourself. And no reasoning changes that fundamental feeling. Marcus Aurelius, facing difficult decisions, would ask, what does my inner nature tell me? Not what's easier, not what avoids conflict, but what does the deepest, wisest part of me know is right? Walking away from someone harming you is always right, even if they haven't done anything dramatic enough to justify it to others. Even if you can't fully articulate why. Even if people think you're being too sensitive. Your peace matters more than their presence. Your well-being matters more than their opinion. Your future matters more than your history with them. If your gut has been telling you to leave, if you've been ignoring that voice, if you've been waiting for permission, this is it. The Stoics, some of the wisest people who ever lived, are telling you across 2,000 years. Trust yourself. Trust your instinct. Walk away. The end result is, living according to Stoic principles doesn't mean accepting harm. It doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean sacrificing yourself for people who'll never appreciate it. It means seeing reality clearly, protecting what's precious, having wisdom to know when to stay and when to walk away, and the courage to act on that wisdom. If someone exhibits these 5 behaviors, never takes responsibility, drains your energy, makes you doubt reality, isolates you, triggers your gut warnings, you don't need to understand why. You don't need to fix them. You don't need one more conversation. You need to walk away. Immediately, not eventually, not after trying one more time. Now, your peace is precious. Your energy is finite. Your life is short. Don't spend another day giving these irreplaceable resources to someone using them to harm you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Find that strength. Walk away. Reclaim your life." Thank you for being part of Stoic Journal. If this resonated, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Check our other videos for more wisdom on living well